Hello and welcome to a special crossover edition of the Goodman and Hummel and the DTF podcast. We have all of the talent here. We don't have Robbie Hummel. No one needs Robbie Hummel. But we don't have John Fanta. John Fanta ditched us. He's over there yelling about Costco steaks or something like that. But my name is Rob Doster. I'm here. I got Jeff Goodman. I got Terrence Oglesby. As you can see in the background, we are live at the Adidas 3SSB. I don't know what that means, but it's the Adidas Championships.
Three stripes something.
Three stripes summer basketball.
That might be it. Or they could have done circuit and then spelled it with an S because they're cooler than we are.
Yeah, that's that Clemson education coming
Could
out
be.
right there, right there. But
Got to make it make sense.
We're live in Rock Hill, South Carolina. We're obviously watching games. You can see them going on in the background. If you hear a lot of noise going on right now, that's what's happening where we are. We're going to be joined by Reese Shepard and Gabe Cupps here in a little bit. Kentucky commit and an Indiana commit. We're going to be talking quite a bit about summer basketball, what we've seen at this event, what we've liked, what Jeff Goodman didn't like, which is a long list. But before we do that, we have not talked about conference realignment on either of these pods. It sucks. I hate it. It's frustrating. I wish we didn't have to.
Do we have to do
it.
this? Right.
We need to. We need to. Because we need – people want to know how this is going to impact college basketball.
Well,
I don't want to talk about where leagues are going. I don't care where schools are going. I want to know what you guys think is going to happen to college basketball.
The only thing I care about, honestly, the only thing I care about ultimately is that the tournament doesn't change. So Greg Sankey, listen to that because, and here's something I'll tell you guys, okay? I haven't said this to anybody yet. Greg Sankey, who runs the transformation committee and is now the SEC commissioner, spoke to the D1 Council a few weeks ago. And a couple people at the D1 Council called me and said, you know, Sankey kind of made it look like and talked down to us a little bit and made it look like the NCAA tournament may not look like the NCAA tournament in a couple of years, meaning that the little guys might not be involved anymore. Now, I called a couple more guys on the committee and said, no, I think they heard it wrong. But all I'm saying is don't be surprised if there's a push from Greg Sankey and some of the big boys to not include the safety rule. And that would be awful. That would be the worst thing to me for college basketball. I don't care. Listen, UCLA can go to whatever conference they want in UFC, and I'm a Pac-12 guy. Obviously, I went to Arizona. They can go to whatever conference they want. There's ultimately going to be 2-3 mega conferences. We know that. Just don't F with the NCAA tournament, period.
The problem is that the guys that make these decisions are not making these decisions based on what's best for the sport. The reason people love college football is because of these little regional rivalries and because of the oddities and the quirks and teams like Boise State coming out of nowhere with those trick plays to beat Oklahoma in a fucking bowl game, right? They love it because Colorado State and Wyoming play for some random trophy that they have every year, and there's 1,000 of those little random rivalries. The reason people love college basketball is these stories whether it's Ja Morant, whether it's Northern State being undefeated, whether it's St. Peter's making it to the Elite Eight. If you go back and look at the most viewed college basketball games last year, St. Peter's was 2 of the top 3. Their Sweet 16 game and their Elite Eight game. People care. Problem is, guys making these decisions are suits at conferences and suits that work at these schools that say, hey, we can increase our revenue in the athletic department by X% by doing this. They don't care what's good for the sport.
No.
They care about their bottom line.
No, there's something to be said for that. But it gets to a point, guys, the numbers that they're throwing out. I mean, you talk about Big Ten adding UCLA and USC, and it's going to add $150 million to the deal. Right. If you're talking those kind of figures, it's almost irresponsible not to listen. Sure. It's almost irresponsible not to take part. But at the same time, to go along with what you say, Jeff, that's something that I really hope that the NCAA and this new whatever this group is going to be. I don't have all the news like you, obviously, but I hope they can come together and make a decision. Maybe football is its own entity, all in of itself. Keep the college basketball.
Football fucked it all up.
Fucked it all up. The one silver lining to all this is Mark Emmert will be gone soon. So maybe we have a chance here. Maybe we have a chance. You know, probably not, because my guess is all the presidents will take care of somebody else, you know, and put them in that spot that they can control.
Well, this is something that's been happening anyway. You remember Bob Huggins bringing it up a few years, or I think it was last year. He said, well, we're the people bringing all the people in. Have you ever been to some of these low major games? Nobody's going. And look, I understand the rhetoric behind that. I understand that, hey, you're there to put butts in the seats sometimes, but it still kind of ruins the ambiance of what is the NCAA tournament, which is one of the greatest sporting events we have in our country. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And the excitement around it, the underdog, all that. Our country loves that kind of deal. And to take that away, I think would be a big time. Yeah, exactly right.
That's
and
the difference.
It'll take away from what
our sport is. Our sport is a niche sport for the most part until the tournament, and then you're bringing in everybody. Whether it's my mom, I don't know if your kids aren't old enough yet, but everybody just brings in everybody. It won't do that to me if you get rid of the Cinderella stories and those first round upsets. Yeah, we want to see the big boys like we did in the Final Four, but and again, maybe there's something where those guys aren't getting the same level of a share down the road, something like that.
I mean, that's going to be the biggest thing. I talked with one person here who said he thought what would happen is that eventually the NCAA tournament is going to break away. Right, they're going to pull it out. It's going to be all of the big boys. It's going to be like the top 8, 9, 10, however many conferences, and they're going to play just those teams in whatever they call it. It's not going to be the NCAA tournament anymore. They're going to call it something else. And then what's going to happen is they're going to realize that they ruined it. They realize they ruined all the stuff that gives it.
But there'll be no going back.
All the stuff that people loved about it. They'll invite those D1 AA, whatever you want to phrase, the other teams to have a seat at the table. They're going to get a smaller slice of the pie. And that's at the end of the day, I think that's what the people that are going to make this decision care about. Why should we be sharing the revenue with these schools that don't do all that much for all of us? Why are we giving them an equal share when we are these big powerhouse mega programs that have everybody paying attention, and you got all these small little schools, X amount of dollars are doing it, and they're just there because that's what props up their athletic department. You know what I mean? And
what do you most – okay. So with all this realignment now that continues, again, UCLA, USC going to Big Ten, what are you most kind of intrigued about for hoops? Like for me, it's probably where Gonzaga ends up. Do they go to the Big East? For hoops, again, football, like I'm an Arizona guy. Like Arizona football sucks.
I wouldn't be mad at Arizona ending up in the Big 12.
They should.
Some of the other times, the other schools that are in there, that turns into a big-time basketball conference really quickly. And then basketball is the main thing in the Big 12. And one that I'm interested in is Duke. What does Duke do?
Duke and Carolina.
Yeah, Duke and Carolina. More so Duke, though, because the football program is an afterthought. Right. But Duke is basketball. Do you do something with the Big East? I think that would be interesting.
You know what we need?
That would be awesome.
This is what we need. This is what we need. Gonzaga going to the Big East. Kansas saying, fuck football, going to the Big East.
And they already said
Duke. Duke said, unless they play Texas. Unless they play Texas. Unless they play Texas. That's the only time. Duke says, fuck football and goes to the Big East.
Yeah.
Think about that conference. You would have 4 blue bloods there.
I know. I just don't know.
You'd have Gonzaga, you'd have Duke, and you'd have Utah.
Is the Big East going to – they may have no choice, but do they just say, why are we going to pair with anybody? We don't need to. As long as we're still playing people and we're included in the NCAA tournament, why do we have to bring in anybody else that's football? Why do we have to change who we are and what we're about? They don't right now.
Because if you bring in Duke, you bring in Kansas, you bring in Gonzaga, you increase your footprint, you bring in bigger brands, more people are going to pay attention to it. So when you sign that new deal, you have more money coming in. That's the reason why all these schools are leaving, because if UCLA leaves the Pac-12, because they're going to like double their revenue.
But is Kansas going to make more going to the Big East? Or even though they have a crappy football program, they're going to make more staying in a Big 12.
Probably make more staying in the Big 12. Why do you think UConn here, which has a football program that nobody should ever mention? It's a joke.
Be careful,
right?
Be careful.
It's a joke.
I got some friends in there. I got some friends there. New staff.
It's a joke, that football program. It should not exist. But the reason why they keep begging everybody for a seat at the table is because of the money that football can bring in. That's what everybody wants.
You don't think Jim Mora will get it done at UConn?
I didn't even know Jim Mora was the coach at UConn.
Jim Mora's the coach at UConn?
He's the head coach at UConn. Preston Pearson is the director of football.
I don't even know.
It's important. Like Jim Mora, the former, or his kid?
NFL.
The old Jim Mora?
Old Jim Mora.
No, come on. The old Jim Mora's the head coach at UConn?
I'm now that you made me doubt myself, I'm going.
I couldn't tell you.
I do not know this. You're Mr. UConn.
Do you think I've ever watched a UConn football game?
They were good for like
I know
year.
one person
I
that
think they were
ever
good for a
played
year.
football at UConn. Dan Orlovsky. That's it.
Oh yeah, Dan Orlovsky.
That's it.
Oh my goodness. What is up with that?
Jim Elmore.
He's going to
I'm
bring
pretty
him
sure-
back.
Tio,
We're
Tio,
calling
you should-
it now.
you should
UConn
tweet-
football.
You should tweet that
He's
out.
back. I don't think
You might
anybody
actually
knows.
be breaking news. I don't think anybody knows.
Right.
How do you not know this?
I had no idea.
No, it's not. That's not the old Jim Mora.
Jim Elmore.
That's the younger Jim Mora. The old Jim Mora is old, though. But
You
he's
should
still
break that news like you. Hey,
That Jim
Tio.
Moore is the one you said.
That's not him.
Playoffs.
That's
Oh,
not
that's
him.
a
That's his
different
kid.
Yeah,
Different Jim
That's his
Moore.
kid.
Tio, you should break that news like you broke the Clemson athletic director.
I didn't break that news. I didn't break that news.
All right, listen. We I don't want to talk about realignment anymore.
I hate
don't know about you
realignment.
guys.
I hate it. I don't ever want to talk about it again. I just want to get to 3 mega conferences because we're going to be there
But,
anyway.
you know what?
Just
You know what? Let me-
expedite
this
this
process.
Right.
Before we do,
Everybody out,
I
let you
want to
do
wrap
it.
it up with this. Give me a percentage. Give me a number on what you like the likelihood of the NCAA tournament going the way that Greg Sankey apparently wants it to go.
I don't think it'll happen, but again, I think there's a lot of people at the high major level. You know, one person told me, one AD, high major AD said, "Listen, if we're the ones that are on the hook here for some of these lawsuits and going to get hit money wise, well, the little guys aren't. They're not going to get hit. So why are we giving them some money?" Well, you're giving them some money because it's what makes the NCAA tournament the best event in all of sports.
It's an investment. What they got to realize is that you share that money with them, and it's an investment because you're going to get a bigger deal from the NCAA tournament because that's why people watch and people care about it. So you kick them a little bit, and you're going to make more overall, even if it's a smaller percentage. But that's not the way they're going to view it. They're going to say we can get this deal. We can share all of it with just ourselves. We can kick out 200 schools that probably should be Division II schools if we're really being honest.
The other
about
part
it.
is, so the other thing that I was told from that meeting was they may bring up the requirements.
You see who's over here?
Oh Jesus! Tim Miles is heckling us.
Oh,
He's heckling us in
gosh.
the middle of a show.
We're getting heckled. We're getting heckled.
It's because Miles feels like he drove the ratings. So
That was Tim Miles, ladies and gentlemen. Tim Miles making a cameo.
So one thing that was said in that meeting to the council members that they thought was maybe they'll bring up the requirements so high that schools won't be able to reach them, therefore won't be eligible for Division I, therefore won't be eligible for the NCAA tournament. So almost, you know, again, just putting the pressure on them where they can't be included.
Can I?
If you even talk about the Power Six, there's enough schools to field 64 teams or 68 teams. There's enough schools. That's the issue. You could still, hypothetically, you could still have a tournament. It's just not going to have the same flavor as some of these big upsets.
Well, I know. Can I also say though, we really don't need 363 Division I teams. That keeps growing every.
More,
we add
yeah,
5
more
every year.
coming.
We don't need that many.
Listen, I
you
sat with
missed out
Brent
on
Leonard
Bellarmine.
here. Tio sat with
We missed
Brent
out on
Leonard.
Bellarmine. What?
Missed out on
Not
Bellarmine.
making the tournament.
Queens
Not making the
University.
Yeah.
Welcome. You know, like, come on. Why are you a hater of Queens University?
I didn't realize they were in North Carolina until about 2 hours
They're
ago.
dead center of Charlotte. You ought to see that.
I didn't realize.
Brent gave me good dinner
they were-
recommendations for tonight. So you don't want them?
I do.
Then they're
100%.
going to be in Division One.
100.
You guys need
100%.
to drive through Queens.
Beautiful.
Campus. It is.
Is it?
Beautiful. Yeah, and it's right in the
Drove through
middle of
Winthrop last night
one
a
of the
little bit.
nicest parts of
No,
Charlotte.
don't guilt trip me for saying that I don't think that we have too many by bringing up Queens University.
Queens-
I don't need to
Queens
hear
needed
about
to
your
be Division
campus.
one.
I don't need to hear about your campus, T.O.
Queens.
I don't care about your
Merrimack.
campus.
Merrimack's right around the corner from me.